Hello, welcome back to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Tuesday, December 3rd. We're going to be going over it. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann, at FlatTyler83 on your DFS sites and Twitter. Now, come and join us at LionStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, all the props, all the DFS. You get it all, one low price. We also have a free 7-day trial through the app stores. Download a LionStar app and try us out if you've never tried us before. Now, let's dig into this slate. All right, 11 games on both sites, and we will get into it. 8 games on Draftkings. Forgot they did the same, cut the late games. So, on to point guard, highest owned, Luka, 11.5. K, 18% owned. Look, the big news here is that Kyrie Irving is likely to be back into the starting lineup. With that, his ceiling is a little bit low, and I think 11.5K could be a bit expensive for him just because, the chance of him hitting mid-60s or 70s is way lower. If he puts up that kind of score, it's a must-have, but I just don't know if it really is going to happen on this slate with Kyrie back. Next, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Very similar, profile as Luka here. He doesn't have the 70-80 point ceiling with everybody there, but he can still score the basketball and still get you solid fantasy points. And, 50, 60 is absolutely possible. And as long as he goes 60, I'm totally willing to pay 10.8K, 700 less than Luka. I would rather just take that savings and move it on. Next, we got Buddy Hield, 4,500. Hield is not playing many minutes, but he is chucking that ball up when he is playing. We know there's a big time ceiling if he gets hot. It's just if he gets hot. That's the only issue. High owned Buddy Hield is a little scary to me. Case and Wallace, 4,600, 15% owned. He started the last 2 games and played some big time minutes, so I kind of get if you want to go there, but be careful because Isaiah Joe could end up starting instead of him. McKee, 5,100, started the last 2 games, played over 30 minutes. If he starts again, which he is expected, he definitely looks decent at his price. Now, pivot-wise, Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, I like both of them. The one thing is I don't know if I really want to play both of them together. I kind of want one or the other, not necessarily both. That is the one worry there. Can they both get there together? Absolutely. I just don't expect both of them to be able to do like a 7x together or 7x over together. I think they could go 5, 6x together, but any additional on top of that, I worry about, and that's my only reason there. Getting over to point guard on DraftKings, we got Scotty Barnes, 33% owned, 8.3K is way too cheap for this man. He's been on fire since he got back, and now he's in good spot for the Pacers. I'm firing him up on all platforms. McKee, 4,500 is just too cheap. Jordan Poole, 6,900, 26% owned in a super tough matchup versus the Cavs. Also, this game is a 16-point spread. So definite worry of possible blowout risk here, and he does lose minutes in blowouts. Luka's also going high owned. Moving on over to shooting guard, we got Terrence Mann, 3,900. Powell is going to be back, but he played 25 minutes last game with Powell there. He's pretty stuck in that 22 to 25 minute range, and he's given us 6x a couple times. The problem is it's doubtful that he goes anything over 6 really. I don't mind the spot, but I just don't love it. I think more value will probably open up throughout the day. Benedict Mathurin, 6,500. I'm fine going there if you want. I really like this game. And he shows us, mid-40s, 50-point ceiling, which is good to me. Also, don't mind some Booker, but I'm probably going to go just slightly over the field on him. 13% owned is probably fairly accurate. Maybe he should be 15, 16, but I don't mind it. 4,900, Karis LeVert. I do got to warn his minutes, 20 and 23 the last couple days, so I am a little worried about his minutes. Also, just worried about the total blowout potential here. He will lose minutes in a blowout for sure. When they won by 16, he only played 20 minutes. In other blowouts, minutes have been down a little bit. But he only needs to get a 30 burger for 6x, and he can totally do that. He can get you mid-30s in a pinch. Don't mind paying down for him. The only thing I will say about him, as more chalk opens throughout the day, or if it opens, he is one of the guys I may come off a little bit, as I just don't feel like you really need to play him, and there's some variance in him. Isaiah Joe, 3,900. He could end up starting. It's him or Wallace that generally does. Don't mind going there if he's a starter. Shooting guard on DraftKings, Jordan Poole, Brandon Miller, 21% owned. I gotta say, I love me some BM. Don't mind going to some Brandon Miller. He's in a good spot. He chucked the ball 30 times last game. If this game stays close, he's going to chuck it again. He's going to just soak up a ton of usage with their current injury situations. Wallace, don't mind. Brogdon. Brogdon got up to 30 minutes, and if he is going to play, 28-30, he starts to look interesting, but very tough matchup, and his price has came up a little bit. Small forward on FanDuel, we got Andrew Wiggins. The big news for the Warriors is no Draymond Green. So Wiggins, Kuminga all start to look a little bit interesting. Wiggins should play solid minutes. Has been 33, 35, and 34 the last 3 games. Without Green, I would expect that continues. So I'm fine going there. My only thing is 40s for him is not likely. And he's 6,200. So I'm not getting to a ton of them. I'll get to a little, and that's about it. Jonathan Kuminga, though, 5,500. I would expect to see more minutes. I would expect him to slide into the starting lineup, and I would expect him to play 28-plus minutes as a power forward. And with that, I think there's some solid ceiling in him. So I'm fine going with Kuminga. And then I like me some Scotty Barnes. Derek Jones at 4,100 is an interesting little pivot versus the lowly Trailblazers. LeVert, we talked about. RJ Barrett versus the Pacers. I like this game. I like Barnes. I like Barrett. And Barrett is just a clear pivot off of going Barnes. But you could play the two together. Don't mind both of them together as well. Their usage is high. They're both shooting a lot. They're both playing really well together, and I like them, and I like that game. And small forward on DraftKings. Scotty Barnes, Brandon Miller, RJ Barrett, we all talked about. Lou Dort, 5,200, as Hartenstein has got healthy. He's losing minutes as they just, shuffle guys around a little bit, and Williams is back playing a forward position. So Lou Dort loses some minutes. I don't love the spot. Don't hate it. On to power forward on FanDuel. We got Trace Jackson Davis and Andrew Wiggins with Jeremy Shokan. Jeremy should be back in the starting lineup. It was a thumb injury, so I'd expect his minutes to be around where he normally is. Now, he's been out for a month, so maybe he doesn't go, 30 plus. Maybe it's 28 to 30. But it was only a thumb injury. His cardio should be fine. And don't mind taking a swing on a low-priced Shokan, likely back in the starting lineup. Trice Jackson Davis and Kevon Looney is an interesting spot here. So Jackson Davis likely still starts at center. The question is, do his minutes go up? We expect Kevon Looney's minutes to go up, but can we expect Jackson Davis's too? I mean, they like him enough to be a starter. He's been playing very limited minutes, teens type minutes, high teens type minutes. If he can get up to 21, 22, 24 minutes, he starts to look very interesting. However, if he doesn't, then it's probably Looney that gets up to that 22, 23 minutes, and then Looney could look interesting. But I think figuring out this kind of power forward center rotation for Warriors is an interesting spot. That game is a 237 total. It is third highest on the slate. Only a 5-point spread. There could be some definite fantasy winners in that game, and Warriors side in particular. Some pivots. We like Kuminga. Talked about that. Pascal Siakam, 7,500. Once again, I said I like this game, and I do. There's multiple stars in the game that I'm going to have pieces of. Too high of a total. Too close of a game. Very interesting going there. And then Derek Jones, RJ Barrett, we talked about. Evan Mobley. If the Wizards are able to keep this close, Mobley has huge upside in this matchup versus the Wizards, who are 27th versus power forward, 30th versus overall defense. So if for some reason Wizards are hot, Mobley, I think, is very interesting. But I'm probably only going to play him if I'm taking a Wizards player as well. The Wizards have to manufacture some way to stay into this game. And if they are able to, I think, Mobley would be a beneficiary, and somebody on the Wizards has got to get hot to make that happen. Power forward on DraftKings, we got Saloon, 26% owned, 3,800. He has had a couple decent games lately. His minutes dropped down to only 22 minutes last game. Not totally sure where he will be minute-wise. He has a pretty big range as a starter, has played 30, 38, 35, and 22. If he's 30-plus, I don't hate it, but I do worry about a little bit of a ceiling. He did get 32 the other night, but that was with 3 steals. 35 the day after 27 with no steals the day after. That type of performance is what he would need. I just don't know if we can really expect it. He's been a .63 fantasy producer, very low producer in his minutes. Alexander Sarr, 5,400. The one thing I got to bring up is there's no Kyle Kuzma, and with that, he played 36 minutes last game. If he plays big minutes and the Wizards are able to keep it close, I think this is an interesting one. We've seen that mid-40 ceiling out of him already, and if they're able to stay close, it becomes kind of interesting, and he's likely to be at power forward tonight with the Cavs having 2 big guys and no Kuzma on this team. So that's kind of what I expect as a Joval starting in the starting lineup. Could be different, but I do think that spot's interesting. RJ Barrett, Durant, all a little bit interesting. Now on to the center spot at FanDuel. Jackson Davis obviously is a little bit interesting. Jokic. You can always go Jokic. We do need to watch if Aaron Gordon is back. If Aaron Gordon is back, it does take a little bit of upside away from Jokic. And partially because he probably doesn't play 38, 39 minutes again. But it is versus the Warriors. It is a cup night, so maybe he does. And what has he done versus the Warriors? Last year, he had a 67, 52, 65, and an 88. So if he gets the minutes, he can definitely torch them. And no Draymond Green, helps the offense as a whole for Denver because Draymond is good at defense and helping the team as a whole. Jonas Valanciunas, 5,700. He can score fantasy points in bunches. Now, minutes are the question. he can play 18 minutes, or if he's starting, he can play 31. Issue is, even as a starter, he's played 22, 23, and then 31. I don't think 31 minutes is likely. However, there's no Kuzma. He started last game. If he starts again with Sar at the 4, there is at least a path to those bigger minutes versus, two big man like the Cavs. So I think it's a little bit interesting going that way. Not that likely, but I'll probably take some swings if he's starting at having some of him. Mobley we talked about, and then Zubac versus Ayton. He's playing big minutes again, 34, 35 the last 2 games. He could absolutely crush Ayton, so I definitely like it. I don't mind having some Ayton as well on the other side. 6,500, and he's played 34, 41, and 32 minutes the last 3. He's also had some big games versus Zubac in the past. So don't mind some Ayton, and we'll get over to DraftKings for some center talk. Jonas Valanciunas, Mason Plumlee. Plumlee only 4K, and Nurkic is out, so there is a path. He is averaging 23 minutes in starts and 28 fantasy points per game. So that would make some sense at 4K that you want some, especially against the Spurs, who he's going to need to play because they need a big man versus Wemby. So little interesting there for sure. And that will do it for us today. That'll wrap us up. I hope you guys have a great day. Let's win some money. And I'll be back more this week with more DFS talk. Peace.